This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 30th day of June in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here is what we're tracking tonight. It was a big day today for Guyana before the International Court of Justice. As that Guyana versus Venezuela border case came up, Guyana's co-agent and head of the legal team in the border case against Venezuela, Sir Shridat Ramphal, opened Guyana's arguments before the International Court on the issue of the court having jurisdiction to hear the matter. Venezuela, which has been maintaining that the International Court does not have jurisdiction, stayed away from the hearing. It has submitted documents to support its position while not appearing before the court. In his opening remarks, Sir Shridat said Venezuela's participation could have been helpful.
It is unfortunate that Venezuela has chosen not to participate in these hearings. Undoubtedly, it would have been more helpful to the court for both parties to appear, to fully present their arguments in the first round and respond to each other in the second. But at least the court has not been left to speculate as to what Venezuela might have said had it appeared in this great hall of justice.
Sir Shridat told the court that Guyana's case on the court having jurisdiction is based on the plain text of the 1966 Geneva Agreement, by which the parties consented to accept the decision of the UN Secretary General on the means of settlement of their dispute over the validity of the 1899 arbitral award. He said that included judicial settlement by the International Court of Justice, and that the dispute is settled by the ICJ once it is the means for settlement chosen by the Secretary General of the United Nations. According to Sir Shridat, Venezuela's contention that the court lacks jurisdiction is without any foundation.
Almost 60 years of Venezuela trying and failing to despoil the sanctity of the Treaty of Washington and to nullify the Paris Award. The Secretary General of the United Nations indicated to the presidents of Guyana and Venezuela in these words, and I quote, "I have fulfilled the responsibility that has fallen on me within the framework set by my predecessor, and significant progress not having been made toward arriving at a full agreement for the solution of the controversy. I have chosen the International Court of Justice as the means that is now to be used for its solution. That is why we are here, attended by the faith of the people of Guyana in this International Court of Justice and in the rule of law internationally."
Once the court agrees with Guyana and establishes that it has jurisdiction, it will proceed to hear the actual case. Guyana is seeking to obtain a final and binding judgment from the court that the 1899 arbitral award, which established the location of the land boundary between then British Guyana and Venezuela, remains valid and binding, and that Guyana's Essequibo region belongs to Guyana and not Venezuela. Under the UN Charter and the court's own rules, its final judgments both on jurisdiction and the merits will be legally binding on Guyana and Venezuela, whether or not Venezuela participates in the proceedings. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hello, boys and girls. As you prepare to write your exams, there are a few things you will have to do each day so that you and those around you can be safe and healthy. Please remember, on the day of your exam, you must wear a mask correctly, covering your mouth and nose before entering the school compound. Wash your hands with soap and water at the entrance of the school at the sink provided for 20 seconds. Paying attention to the palm and back of your hands, between your fingers and their tips. Dry your hands with a clean clean tissue and dispose in the closed bin nearby. Boys and girls, your temperature will be tested by an official. Then you will go to the designated waiting area with the floor signs and markings clearly visible, standing or sitting 2 meters or 6 feet apart at all times. It is now time to start your exam. The invigilator will direct you to the examination room. All the best. Boys and girls, playing and gathering are not allowed. Parents, the Ministry of Education thanks you for the support you have given the children during the time at home. However, in the interest of everyone's well-being, you will not be allowed to enter the school compound. Parents and guardians, we are counting on your support in picking up the children promptly after their exam. Remember, the Ministry of Education will provide transport for children who are living far away that require that assistance. Please be reminded that vending outside the school's compound is prohibited. Only authorized canteen vendors with a copy of their food handler certificate and wearing a mask, food gloves, apron, hairnet, and a hat will be allowed. Always remember to wear your mask correctly, wash your hands, and stay safe. And let's win the fight against COVID-19. A message from the Ministry of Education.
We all want to stay in touch, right? Now, even more than ever before. So to keep your connection strong, GTT is going 2 for 2. Combine GTT mobile and home internet services and we'll give you 2 gigs of free mobile data each month. With 2 GTT services, you're fully connected at home and on the go. Visit us online at gtt.co.gy/2for2 to learn more and start doing more with 2 for 2 from GTT. Stay safe, stay strong, Guyana. We're in this together.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Hi Guyana, it's your boy Kimo Paul here. Reminding you to stay at least 1 meter away from persons or 3 feet to avoid contracting the flu or the COVID-19. It is also important that we stay at home and to avoid gatherings of more than 5 persons. We must all play our part, so let's protect ourselves and our families from COVID-19. We must all play our part. The Ministry of Public Health cannot do this alone. So let's all come together and fight this virus.
For further information, check our website www.health.gov.gy or visit the ministry's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter page.
Welcome back. Well, almost 4 months after Guyana went to the polls, incumbent President David Granger maintains that only valid votes should be counted to arrive at a result for the Guyana elections. During a radio interview last evening on the Mark Benchcop Straight Up show, the president said the anomalies discovered during the vote recount cannot be ignored or brushed aside. He also said that the recount looked not just at the quantity of the votes, but also at the quality of the votes cast. And the recommendations of the CARICOM report on the recount shows that there were issues and concerns about the quality.
We have insisted that the votes be, the election process be regarded not only in terms of quantity of votes, but also in quality. And in quantity, yes, you can arrive at a number, but when you look at the quality, you can see that those votes have been manipulated, the number of manipulated, and the abuses are numerous. And some people, as I said, are only reading, page 1 or 2 of the CARICOM report. They're not reading the whole report. The list to start with is bloated, and that is the source of a lot of this mischief. And I announced a couple of weeks ago the PPP have a practice of flaking. They don't aim at a massive fraud in a particular area. They look at the fact that we're looking at 2,339, polling stations, and they take off 10 here and 15 there, and before you know it, they're claiming a 15,000 majority. But it's by flaking and by having these spurious ballots that they arrive at that number.
While the CARICOM report on the national voter recount recognized a number of irregularities and also recommended an overhaul of the Elections Commission and the new registration of voters, it also stated that it believes the recount still showcased the will of the people. But President David Granger said it would be unacceptable for a report to be presented by the Chief Elections Officer that does not take into account the issues of irregularities and anomalies.
Once you're dealing with a country with a population of 750,000, and you have a voting list of 661,000, that voting list is padded. And that padding has been the source of many of the irregularities we discovered over the past 19 weeks. That is persons who are dead, persons who migrated, persons who are not qualified. And these are just some of the anomalies and irregularities that we discovered. So it is unacceptable for the Chief Elections Officer to present a report which doesn't take into consideration the fact that these irregularities did occur and have affected the validity of the votes. Now, this is the reason why on Monday the 22nd, last week, Monday, the Guyana Court of Appeal ruled that votes must be valid votes. If votes are fraudulent or if votes exceed the number of people on the list, they can't be valid.
The Chief Election Officer last week presented his final report on the elections to the Guyana Elections Commission, showcasing only the valid votes that were cast. The Chief Elections Officer said he was guided by the Guyana Court of Appeal decision. That decision by the Chief Elections Officer resulted in just over 115,000 votes being discarded, affecting all of the parties that contested the elections. The People's Progressive Party has said it will not allow any voter to be disenfranchised as it maintains it won the elections based on the recount. The Elections Commission is still to meet and discuss the report of the Chief Election Officer, as the People's Progressive Party has taken an appeal before the Caribbean Court of Justice. The matter before the CCJ will come up tomorrow. President Granger said his government has always been respectful of the actions of the court and will continue to do so.
So we are, entirely compliant with the Constitution, and we have left the process of the election management entirely in the hands of the Commission. It's not whether I have confidence that the law, and that is where we are. We have publicly stated we support the Commission, both the chairman and the Chief Elections Officer, and we are prepared to live by the outcome. Once the chairman makes a declaration, which I hope is soon, we will abide by that declaration.
The CCJ is getting set to hear the arguments in the appeal by the PPP, which wants the court to throw out a ruling by the Guyana Court of Appeal, which interpreted the words "more votes than" in the Guyana Constitution to mean more valid votes. The court is also expected to address the issue of whether it really has jurisdiction to hear the matter. The Attorney General of Guyana has been insisting that the Guyana Court of Appeal decision on the issue that was taken before it was final. On the other side, the presidential candidate of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Irfanali, has accused the APNU-AFC coalition of making attempts to steal the elections. Appearing on a television program last evening, Mr. Ali said he is moving ahead with his plans to transition into government, and the will of the people must be respected as the country still awaits the official results from the 2nd of March elections.
What we are seeing over the last 4 months is a high-handed approach of grand theft, where the government seems not disinterested in the will of the people, in the outcome of a democratic process, and in respecting the outcome of that democratic process, notwithstanding the fact that we live in a different era. We live in an era today where Guyana cannot exist outside of the rest of the world.
Based on the undeclared vote recount, Ali's PPP is ahead by more than 15,000 votes. But when the Chief Elections Officer counts only what he has described as the credible valid votes, Ali's party comes in second to the APNU AFC. The PPP has rubbished the report of the Chief Elections Officer and has taken a case before the Caribbean Court of Justice. Mr. Ali said he will not allow efforts to block his transition to be successful.
What we have seen since then is various steps to block the transition. But I want to say to you, Eddie, that nothing can block the transition into the new government. The will of the people cannot be wished away. These are not those days when you did not have the news outfit and you did not have the international presence that allowed you to wish away and wash away the will of the people. It will not happen.
The presidential candidate also noted that he has been taking note of the flurry of statements coming from a number of international organizations and some individual countries, calling for the vote recount numbers to be used to declare the result. He said those statements cannot be ignored as Guyana cannot isolate itself.
The narrative that some in government seems to want to spread cannot win at the end of the day. It is a narrative of division, it's a narrative of hate, it's a narrative of separation, it's a narrative that seeks to undermine democracy, it's a narrow narrative that is filled with fraud and lies and misrepresentation.
This week marks 4 months since the votes were cast in the elections. The first declaration was blocked by a court order, and after concerns were raised about fraud in the Region 4 count, an agreement was reached for a recount of all votes. That recount not only recognized discrepancies in the original Region 4 numbers, but also brought to light new allegations of fraud as several anomalies were uncovered. Well, Guyana appears to be experiencing a surge in COVID-19 cases, especially in the Region 1 and Region 7 communities. The Public Health Ministry reported today that the country has recorded 10 new cases of the coronavirus within the past 24 hours, from a total of 26 tests, taking the total number of active cases to 119. The total number of recoveries remains at 114. The situation continues to cause a headache for health officials who believe that as citizens continue to flout the health and safety guidelines, the numbers will continue to rise. The increase in the numbers come as the country is beginning a gradual reopening, with the airports set to begin their phased reopening from tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Public Health is hoping to open the doors to the Infectious Diseases Hospital sooner. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Persad, who had a tour of the site on Monday, explained that the hospital will have all the facilities to isolate persons affected by COVID-19.
Here in this facility, the plan is to handle at least 3 categories of persons: those who are infected and are suffering from the signs and symptoms of the disease, those who are infected but remain asymptomatic, and those who are in quarantine, who are waiting for their results, and who might have been in contact. And so there are 3 different levels of care that will be offered here.
Guyana recorded its first case of the coronavirus back in March, and the numbers have been climbing since then. Within the space of 1 week, Bartica has recorded 6 cases of the coronavirus disease. The mining town recorded its first case last Wednesday, and according to the Regional Health Officer of Region 7, Dr. Edward Sigala, a 6th person from the town has since tested positive. 4 of the 6 cases are from one family. Following those tests, an additional 16 persons were tested, but only 1 of them returned with a positive result. The Regional Health Officer said the total number of positive cases in the entire Cayuga-Mazaruni region now stands at 37, with most of those cases recorded in the gold mining community of Aranca. The health officer has been expressing his worry about Bartica residents, who he said appear to be carefree and casual toward the pandemic. He said most residents seem not to care and reminded them that the virus is not going away anytime soon. Dr. Sigala has urged all residents of Region 7 to observe all of the health advisories. The Interreligious Organization of Guyana is calling on the political leaders in the country to meet publicly and address the issue of peace and calm and the acceptance of the results of the elections, regardless of which party emerges as the winner. In a statement this morning, the IRO also said with the pending CCJ ruling and the inevitable declaration of a winner, it is a reality that this week will be one of the most trying for many Guyanese. The religious grouping is also calling on the followers of political parties to tone down their vitriolic statements on social media and other means of expression. They also want various religious groups to lift the country up in prayers. The Interreligious Organization said it believes that in unity there is strength and the difficult times will pass without any escalation of violence or civil unrest. Across the Region is coming up next.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways. Knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. Getting your workplace ready for COVID-19. Surfaces such as desks, tables, and telephones with keyboards must be wiped with disinfectant regularly, or at least every few hours. Use containers of hand sanitizers and place them in prominent places around the workplace. Provide access to places where staff can wash their hands with soap and water, and promote regular hand washing at the workplace. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
Across the region right now, there were widespread protests across Port of Spain and other parts of Trinidad and Tobago today, as hundreds of citizens burnt tires and other debris to register their anger over the police shooting death of 3 men on Saturday. The National Security Minister in Trinidad, Stuart Young, today called for calm, while indicating that there are 2 investigations examining the police shooting deaths.
On Saturday was that there was a TTPS incident in Mova that led to the death of 3 of our citizens. Shortly thereafter, we had the Commissioner of Police come out and say that there will be a thorough police investigation. I was in conversation with the Commissioner early on Sunday morning with respect to the incident that first came to my attention as Minister of National Security on Saturday evening. Shortly thereafter, we had the PCA, the Police Complaints Authority, which is a statutory body charged with the responsibility of dealing with complaints with respect to the police service, come out and say that they were launching their own investigation with respect to this incident where 3 persons lost their lives.
From mid-morning, gunshots could be heard across several parts of Port of Spain. Roads leading into the capital were blocked and many businesses closed their doors early. The Minister of National Security said that criminal elements were behind the protest action, claiming that he was told that people were being paid to go to protests in the streets. He said the government was also in receipt of information that the protests were being used as an opportunity to attack police officers. The situation is being closely monitored this evening. Trinidad and Tobago has recorded more than 230 murders for this year already. Caribbean News Service reports tonight that President Jovenel Moïse of Haiti has pardoned 415 prisoners in a bid to reduce overcrowding at prisons across the country, as a senior UN official said that a French-speaking Caribbean country had experienced an overall increase in gang-related and criminal activity during the first 6 months of this year. A government statement said the president, acting on the recommendation of the country's justice minister, has right to pardon and commute sentences and issued the official order releasing the 415 ordinary prisoners. The special representative of the UN Secretary General to Haiti in a report said Haiti experienced an overall increase in criminality and gang-related activity in the first months of this year. She said while only 30 protests calling for the removal of the president from office were recorded in the first quarter, violence was particularly evident in the context of police protests over labor issues. And finally tonight, international news. The White House is under pressure to explain how much the administration knew about allegations that Russia offered the Taliban bounties to kill U.S. troops. Officials have insisted that President Donald Trump was not personally informed of the alleged plot in Afghanistan in 2019. But reports say the president received a written briefing earlier this year. There is concern that Mr. Trump might have had access to information about threats to U.S. forces, but did not act. The intelligence reportedly arrived amid U.S. attempts to negotiate a peace deal to end the 19-year war in Afghanistan, and while Mr. Trump sought to improve relations with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Reports by the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, quoting unnamed U.S. officials, said a Russian military intelligence unit had offered Taliban-linked militants bounties to kill U.S. troops in Afghanistan. 20 American troops died in Afghanistan in 2019, but the New York Times said it was not clear which deaths were under suspicion. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.